Section 3. Ask investors.
Now, let's talk about pitching investors. Did you know that you have the right to interview investors? If you're considering entering into a long-term, legally binding financial relationship, I suggest you do your research. You need to think of them as a future work spouse, and you need to ask some really important questions before you put a ring on it. But what should you ask an investor that you're looking to work with? Here are some really good starting questions to get you rolling.
What does the investor bring to the table?
Take a look at the talent, marketing, and business development help that the investor's firm and personal network can provide. Do they enable founders to focus on the product, or do they make founders wear all of the hats and the investor simply collects a paycheck when sales start rolling in? I really want you to keep a copy of this slide. You may not need it right now, but there will be a day that comes and you'll be super glad that you saved it. I've included this in our downloadable workbook that accompanies these modules. Optimizing the company creation process. Can they help with optimizing during the company creation process? There could be entity formation, legal registration, like your federal, state, and IRS. It could be patenting, funding, or hiring. Providing resources across recruiting, legal, operations, branding, marketing and PR communications, finance, and administrative. Note that many incubators provide a base level of operational support, but do not help founders fundraise or scale revenue. If funding is an important piece of your puzzle, make sure you ask about it.
Ask for references.
Establish your expectations of the process. You do need to ask for references, and given technology nowadays, I think it's safe to say that no one would go out on a date with someone that they didn't know without scouring their social media and internet presence for clues. You should treat potential investors with the same optimistic caution, but dig deep, do your homework, and ask for those references. Hopefully, they've founded other successful businesses, and when you go to interview them, you can ask what their experiences were. Ask those business owners, how was their experience with that investor? See if what the investor is telling you matches with what someone else's experience has been. You might have a lot to learn. Please interview until your heart is content.
Learn the journey.
Establish your expectations of the process. In addition to asking others about their experience working with an investor, ask the investor directly. How many companies do they build in a year? Are you going to be their pet project, or are you going to be one of 15 that are fighting for their attention? Can the investor provide any of the aforementioned resources or skills? Remember, just because an investor say it will work in a particular way doesn't mean that that's what they're going to deliver. Get the promises in writing. Luis Martinez is a venture capitalist at the Capital Factory in Austin, Texas, and he makes me smile. One time, he told me that investors are like Santa Claus. They aren't always going to give you what you ask for, but they are always watching and they will give you what you need.
Investment load.
What is their current investment load? Have you purchased a home before? Investment load is a lot like your home mortgage. The lender tells you what the interest rate is on the loan. Then, before you go to checkout on closing day, you get to review all of those super neat little fees and additional charges that are added onto your house bill. The lender calls this APR, your actual percentage rate. They do this because they know that the advertised sticker price is not the final total of the bill. It's like hotel and airline fees too. That idea of additional charges applies to investors as well. An investment load refers to the total financial burden or commitment a startup is taking on when accepting capital from an investor. This includes not just the initial investment amount, but also any associated terms such as equity dilution, interest rates on convertible notes, control rights, and expected returns. When negotiating with an investor, understanding the investment load helps founders assess the long-term impact on ownership, decision-making power, and financial obligations, ensuring that capital infusion aligns with the company's growth strategy and financial health.
Stages and sectors.
Ask about specific stages and sectors. What are they looking to invest in right now and in the near future? Investors in startup businesses can be categorized based on the stage of the business and the sector that they focus on. For those that don't know what stages and sectors are, here's a brief rundown of both and what it means for your business.
Stages of investment.
You may have heard of pre-seed, seed, Series A, B, and C thrown around there before. Let me help you understand what those mean.
Number 1, pre-seed.
This is the earliest stage, basically when you're still getting your idea off of the ground. You might not even have a fully operational business yet. So who invests in pre-seed? At this point, you're typically looking at funding from yourself and maybe some friends or family, and possibly a few angel investors who believe in your idea. A word of caution. I can't tell you how many people I have seen use credit card debt to finance their business from the start, especially without a solid revenue generating plan. Don't do it. Those credit card debt rates are absolutely predatory. If you're not already generating money and don't have a plan on how you'll be able to pay the credit card back, that's a quick way to find yourself in a spiral. The interest rates are not ideal for long-term startup business lending. So what is pre-seed money for? You'll use this money to research and develop your product and start testing the market to see if your idea has any legs.
Seed stage.
Now that you've got a working prototype or a service, but you're not fully launched and you're not bringing in a lot of money yet. So who invests in seed stage? This is when your angel investors, your seed funds, your incubators, and early stage venture capital startup firms, they come into play. The money is for further developing your product and starting your marketing efforts and beginning to build your team.
Series A stage.
Your business is up and running and you're starting to see some revenue. You've got a clear plan for how you want to grow. Who invests? Venture capital firms typically invest in here, though you might still have some angel investors involved. So what's the money for? You're going to use these funds to scale your operations, to get more customers, and keep improving your product or service.
Series B.
You've got a solid customer base and revenue. Now it's time to really ramp things up. Your investors are going to be larger venture capital firms and sometimes even corporate venture arms. This is about expanding into new markets, growing your team, and making sure that your systems and processes can handle the scale.
Series C.
Your company is scaling fast, and you might be thinking about going public or getting acquired. The investors will be late-stage venture capital, private equity firms, hedge funds, and institutional investors are the big players at this stage. This is when you're looking at major expansion and possibly acquiring other companies and getting ready for a big event like an IPO, an independent public offering. Now let's switch gears to sectors of investment.
Sectors of investment.
Now, let's switch gears over to sectors of investment. So what are sectors of investment? Well, investors invest their money in things that they love, know, and trust. So it will be their area of expertise. These are broad categories that all of the different types of businesses could fall into. Generally, an investor will stay true to whatever their category or their sector is. There's an off chance you might get an investor that's willing to, take a lucky bet on you and invest in a different category than they're used to. But then they may not be the proper industry expert for you to consult with because it's not their sector of expertise. So let me tell you a little bit more about the different kinds of sectors so you can figure out where you fall.
Technology focus.
Think software, AI, cybersecurity, anything tech-driven. The people who invest in this are venture capitalist firms that specialize in tech, corporate investors, and tech-savvy angel investors.
Healthcare and biotechnology.
This is all about pharma, medical devices, digital health, and biotech innovations. You'll find specialized venture capital and private equity firms here, along with government grants.
Consumer goods and services.
This includes retail, food and beverage, lifestyle products, and consumer technology. The people who invest in this are venture capital firms that love consumer products, angel investors, and sometimes even crowdfunding platforms.
Fintech.
Anything in financial technology. This could be payment systems, blockchain, digital banking. The people who invest in this are fintech-focused venture capital firms, corporate investors, maybe from the finance world, and angel investors who are deep into fintech.
Clean energy and sustainability.
Renewable energy, sustainable products, and green technologies fall under this umbrella. You're looking for impact investors, sustainability-focused venture capital, and government grants, and corporate investors in this energy sector too.
Real estate and prop tech.
This sector covers property technology, real estate development, and new construction methods. The people who invest in this are real estate-focused venture capital, private equity firms, and angel investors who know the real estate game is who you're looking for there. When you're looking for investment, it's super important to know which stage your business is in and which sector you're operating in. This way, you can find the right investors who not only have the money, but also have that necessary expertise to help you grow. Match your business with the right investors, and you'll be in a much stronger position to secure the funding that you need.